Hello everyone, welcome to IT Shiesty, that's the channel, and today we'll be diving into Linux and focusing on Debian, Kali Linux, which is a flavor of Debian, because that's the only Debian, it's the only VM I have installed other than my host OS, which is also a Debian operating system. Linux distro, but I didn't want to show you my host one, so you'll be seeing my Kali one, as that's the only one installed. And I'm using QEMU KVM, which I'll get into in a later video. But yep, so whether you're new to Linux or just getting started, this video will help you get comfortable with your new Linux system. Let's get started. Okay. So here's the Kali Linux GUI. So first up, let's get familiar with the Debian/Kali user interface, or GUI. This is where you'll interact with the system, windows, icons, and menus. And so here is the taskbar up here. And this is where you view your system notifications, and you see network information to there, and your power and the time there, and you can see all that stuff, and you can lock down your computer, whatever, volume, notifications, and network there. And then we will look at so for Linux people who are new to Linux and they came from Windows background, this is the like what people would call the start menu. So this is the logo of the Kali Linux one, and this just shows all the applications down the bottom and everything that you can find. Also system settings and add users, so and so, display, and so yeah. And also, because this is Kali Linux, it has a lot of pre-installed like hacking tools here. So you've got the document reader, the PDF document reader, appearance, and everything down here, yada yada yada. And now we're gonna go to the system settings just to let you see where you configure your settings. So settings manager and settings editor over here is where you'll be moving stuff around, and as well as your basic file manager. And yeah, so as I was saying, we can enter the file manager, which is pretty much the file explorer for any Windows people out there. And yeah, this is where you'll find your desktop tabs, your recent, trash, documents, and so on, music, pictures, videos, downloads. And yeah, so I've been using this with Try Hack Me and Hack the Box. So I've been connecting to the OpenVPN, and yep. Now let's switch gears and dive into the basic terminal commands. And the terminal is where you'll execute your commands that interact with your system through text. Now, coming from a Windows background, is you'll usually have a graphical user interface or a GUI to set all your things. But the powerful thing about Linux is that because it uses more text-based and terminals to start your commands and change your settings, it can also run quicker than a GUI. And there's less add-on and background stuff going on. So here's the terminal window. I'll just make it a little bit bigger and change the size. And so here is my shell. Now I'll get into shells a bit later in a different video, but here, as you can see, the user is Kali, and the host name is Kali. Now you can use this easy command called neofetch if you have it installed. which I'd probably install it because you can have this cool little thing that tells you about your specs and your computer. And so I cleared that. Yeah, so to open terminals quickly, you can use the Control-Alt-T. So it's just like you can open them real quickly. Just open a bunch. So now the basic command. Now, one way of looking at it is, so see this folder here called home? This folder is the exact same as the tilde or the curvy little line thing here. So for a better representation of that, I can type, that's the tilde. And let's make it bigger. That's called the tilde, and that represents home because we're in the home directory here. So if we use this command called pwd, it says that we're in home, and for user we are is Kali. And yeah, so that prints our directory. So print working directory, that's what that stands for. Now the next command I'll be telling you about is the well, yeah, you can clear the terminal with the clear command, or if you're super tech savvy, which I'll get into teaching you in another video, you can set up an alias in your bashrc shell, the .bashrc file, to just press the word C to clear the whole page. So what I'm doing here, I've only pressed C and now it's cleared. So the next command is the ls command, and that's going to list everything inside the current working directory, or the list storage, or whatever you want to call it. So ls, and this shows desktop downloads, pictures, templates, and text. And as you notice, that is the exact same in this directory. So this the file explorer. So the terminal is pretty much just another way to access your system, and I'll get into shells and that later, but we're just doing the basics here. So now I'm going to introduce you to the cd command, which is change directory. So let's say we wanted to go into the music directory right here, which is pretty much a folder, because directory and folder mean the same thing. So you want to cd, then music, and now we're in the music directory, and as you can see, nothing's here. But yeah, that's one way of looking at that. Now, next command I'm going to teach you is the make directory, and the syntax of that is mkdir and test. I'm going to name it test1. So when we list down here, we can see that there's a test1 directory, and so the test1 directory is there, a folder. So now we're going to actually change directory into the test1 directory. So as you can see, nothing's here yet. There's nothing in there. So now I'm going to teach you how to create a file, and let's just say a basic text file. So you can just do touch, and then let's call it test.txt. Now we've made a file called test.txt. Now let's say we wanted to I don't know, let's say we wanted to create a word that is inside text that will be output into the terminal once we concatenate the file. So another command I'm going to teach you now is the cat command, or the concatenate, and that pretty much just outputs the file into the terminal. So right now, because test.txt is only an empty file, it doesn't actually cat anything. So if we wanted to put something inside the file, the test.txt command, a helpful tool, or I'm not too sure what to call it, would be the echo, and then the echo. Then you're gonna want to use the quotes, double quotes, and let's say this is a test, and so we've put that into a string. Now we're going to echo this, and then the greater than symbol is going to output that into the test.txt. It's going to put that into that empty file. So when we concatenate it now, we can see that this is a test. So it's clear the terminal. And so another simple command is copy. So we're gonna go back. Actually, we'll just make another directory in here with the mkdir command, and let's call it test2. Let's cd into test2. Now we're in test2, right? So there's nothing here. As you can see, it's empty. Now we're going back with a cd dot dot. That means the previous directory. Dot means the current directory, and dot dot is the previous directory. But we'll go with that more with the other Linux terminologies and whatnot. Now going back. Now, see, the test.txt is in this directory. So if we want to copy it, we can use a cp command. And pretty much what that's going to do is we're going to copy the test.txt, and now we're going to have to put it into the test.to. And so the first argument that we're defining is test.txt, and now that is the file that we want to copy, and the directory that we want to put it into is the test2 directory. So now if we cd into the test2 directory, we can see that we have the test.txt file in there, and we concatenate it to see that it is a test. Okay. So another thing that is probably going to help you a lot inside your Linux journey is the man pages. So the man pages pretty much means the manual pages, but everyone calls it man. So you might hear some Linux nerds saying check the man pages whenever you ask for help, or they're just being very annoying because the man pages are pretty hard to read. And it took me a while to actually start understanding the terminologies and actually being able to read the structure of the man pages. So for example, let's go into the man ls, which is the list storage, or the list, the current directory. So we'll put man in, and so let's make this a little bit better. Now, this just gives you the name, so the ls, which is list directory contents, and the synopsis, or I don't know why they don't use syntax here, but anyway, for you English nerds, correct me if I'm wrong. So yeah, ls is there. Now this is the option. So flags, I'll get into flags in another video, but this is where you'll put your flags for the file that you're selecting, which is which can be a directory too. By the way, in Linux, everything's a file and directory. Sorry, I meant in Linux, everything is a file. Cut that out. Anyway, so here's the description. So it lists information about the files, the current directory or default, and sorts entries alphabetically if none of the dash sort flags is specified. Okay, and now we can see a lot of flags, and yeah, these are just I'll show you a quick example of what a flag does. So in this so I'm gonna ls, and dash la is a flag, and now that just gives me a bit more information when I'm using the ls command. So if you look back in here, which is the man pages, oh man, the A is that it does not ignore entries starting with a dot, and a dot is pretty much a hidden file. So as you can see here, the .pki, .msf, .mozilla, .local, they're all hidden directories. .sudo as admin, and yeah, that's hidden directories. So, but the A flag, when added the A flag, it lists all the files in that directory, including the hidden ones, which is specified by the dot, because dot are hidden files. Now, just remember there's also the L flag, which is showing that, I'll just show you what the L flag is somewhere, and it lists a long listing format. So it just lists the permissions here, the user, the group that owns it, or the user that owns the group it's in, and then the file size, which is in bytes by default, and the date is created, and the time, and all that good stuff, because that's what we want. So we're Linux nerds. Now, so to get out of the man pages is very easy. You just quit it down here with the Q. Press the Q key while you're in there. The Q key while you're in there. A little bit kooky. Anyway, so I'll demonstrate a very important command that you're gonna always need to do when you boot up your Linux machine. You don't need to, but it's very suggested to do it, because you want your installations to be new and current. So the sudo is another command that you're gonna want to learn, but sudo is pretty much the super user. It does not mean Sudanese. So yeah, so no cheeky business. I'm not being racist. Anyway, so sudo is the command that makes you run as root, or some would say administrator in a Windows background. So the sudo apt update updates all your repositories from the Debian repo. So now you're gonna need to input your password. And now that's downloading, and I've got a lot of things that could be upgraded. And the second command that we won't get into that now. And that's a wrap on our beginner's guide to the Debian and Linux basics, Debian/Kali Linux. And I hope this video makes you feel more comfortable navigating the Debian GUI and using the terminal. If you found this helpful, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe for more tech tips. If you have any questions or need further help, drop in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.